What up, y'all? So today I want to talk about why you shouldn't be hard on yourself. I come across people often, I feel like, especially strangers that I talk to, that within a few minutes of me speaking to them, they'll do something to the effect of naming off some accolade or something they've achieved, but then they'll follow it up with some type of self-criticism or, in other words, a way of being hard on themselves. And this recent week, I had a conversation that actually made me start thinking about this. So I thought it was a good idea to go ahead and make a video because I know that I deal with this, and I also come across people that deal with it a lot too. Now, the conversation I had earlier in this week was with someone that was not necessarily a stranger, but I'd only ever had one conversation with her before, and I got to know a little bit more about her. Just for context, I'm 33, so she was about 10 years or so younger than me, but in that, she had come up in her life and she had taught herself a skill. She got really good at it. She had marketed it on social media, had started selling products, making money off of it, had created a business from this, and had actually had a recent offer from a third party too. I thought this was remarkable, and I think that most of you listening to this would probably think that's a pretty stellar accomplishment. Not a lot of people can say they do that. I meet people all the time that are much older than me that want to do this stuff, but they never actually find a way to do it. And so I know how difficult it is, especially to do it at that age. My reaction was to sit there and say, wow, that's incredible. Like, great on you. And then seeing the work afterwards also reaffirmed that. She said, thank you. And something to that effect of, it's just nice to hear that because sometimes I'm just pretty hard on myself. Like, I get that, right? Because a lot of times when we come up in our life, we're conditioned to not even look at our achievements and the great things we do in our life as something that's remarkable. I think a lot of times other people outside the situation could look in and tell you how great you're doing, but there's always that inner voice that comes to us that can sometimes combat that. Now, this inner voice is something I think that can come from people that are close to us, like an external party, or it can just be something that's internal too. I think more often than not, it comes from outside influences of some extent. And I've also dealt with that on my side too. You know, like when I grew up, my parents, and I love them to death, right? But I never got much of I'm proud of you or great job or anything like that, no matter what I achieved. I had a lot of reasons to be proud of myself, but I never once looked at anything I did like it mattered. And I've carried a lot of this attitude into adulthood too, which is something that I've had to take steps back to unlearn. So I get it, right? Like, if you're a person that has a lot of self-criticism, or in other words, you're very hard on yourself, it's something that I feel personally, and I also come across a lot of people that do too. So for one, if you think that you're in an isolated example in which you're hard on yourself but other people aren't, trust me, a lot of people are. I think more often than not, people are, no matter what they achieve in their life. The reason this conversation stuck out with this woman was it was just like one of these examples where I think, you know, if I could look 10 years back and just give myself a little bit of praise and understand that what I was doing was pretty good, I think it would have helped me stay on my journey and understood that I was on the right path and doing something good. I think a lot of times people derail their own success in life because we let these pressures get to us, and then we start inevitably being really hard on ourselves too. So we may be doing fantastic and exactly where we want to be, then we tell ourselves we're not doing good enough. We didn't do it fast enough. We didn't make enough money. We didn't start the business sooner. We didn't have two businesses. Whatever it is, you can find a way to kind of self-deprecate and find this criticism for your stuff, but it's not always well-founded. And I think there's a difference between having constructive criticism, right? Like in looking at a process and maybe trying to improve it, or doing things to also get better in pursuit of what we see our vision as. But there's a difference between doing that and just looking at the success and the things that you have done and not really giving credit where credit's due. I meet people all the time that have remarkable things about them. You don't have to have a business. You don't have to have some crazy skill or hobby or anything else on there. Sometimes you may look at yourself and think you're just a regular person, but a regular person still has talents and strengths. It's just that sometimes I think we live with these strengths and things so long that they're just inherent to us. We don't believe that they're anything that stands out, but other people see that stuff. I'm into videography. I like learning how to use my camera and learn with this stuff too. There are mistakes that I see, and I'm very critical of my own work, that most people probably would never notice at all. So I could look at this and say, you know what, I'm not doing good enough. I could make this shot better and all these things and stuff too. But at the same time, I'm doing pretty good for someone that just is figuring out how to do this from other YouTube videos and through a lot of trial and error. In fact, yesterday, this happened to me. So today's Sunday, and just for a little bit of context here, usually what I do is on Fridays, I'll kind of cut my hair, I'll do little notes, and I'll kind of figure out exactly what it is that I want to go ahead and talk about. Saturdays, I'll usually get up and film the bulk of everything that I'm doing. And then if I need to get some extra shots or whatever, I might go out on Sunday or do some stuff like that instead. Well, Friday, I was behind. So I didn't cut my hair till later. So I kind of already lost my time to plan stuff. And inevitably that bled into Saturday, which then made me delay filming my video, which then made me change a bunch of stuff. I started looking at the lighting that I had. Didn't work for me. The shots that I had, I didn't like. I didn't like what I was talking about. Everything just felt like I was criticizing everything I was doing. Instead of looking at the fact that I got up early, I still tried to adjust and I still tried to make something happen and work with what I had. See, there's two different lanes of thought you can take when you're looking at something like that. You can look at what you are doing or what you're not doing. And believe me, no one's perfect, so you're always gonna be able to find stuff that you're quote unquote not doing. It doesn't mean that you're not doing some great things too. I like to make a lot of these topics about things that I wish that I could look back to a younger version of myself and tell, because not a lot of people get a lot of encouragement these days. You know, we're surrounded by negativity and the hysteria, or for the negativity that really gets a lot of clicks and attention and things online, whether it's the news or other social media, creators and things like this that do this. I get why they do it, but it's not something that I want to do. The reason I make a lot of these videos is not just to, pour my heart out and act like everything's all boo-hoo and all this stuff. It's really just to kind of highlight things that I don't see a lot of people talking about, not openly. And I think that sometimes we just need a little bit more encouragement in life than the negativity that we tend to kind of find ourselves all around. You don't need to be hard on yourself, right? Like, life is already hard enough. I forgot how the saying goes, but it was something like, when it comes time to be miserable in your life, you don't have to try. You'll do just fine. And essentially what that says is that life is going to be life no matter what you try to do. You can be prepared for everything. You can try to cross every T and dot every I, but you're still going to run into life, which is the problems and the obstacles that come with these things. You don't need to pile on more stress and pressure that is self-induced on top of the things that are inevitably going to happen to you in your life. That's going to make a bad situation worse. Something that you can solve unsolvable. If there's one thing you take away from this video, it's that I want you to try and be kind to yourself. You don't need to be hard on yourself. And if everyone else in your life, including your parents, your siblings, your coworkers, your friends, is trying to push you towards the direction of being hard on yourself instead of praising you for the things that you're doing well in your life, hopefully this video can serve as at least one voice that's in your corner that tells you can do it, because I know you can. And no matter what you got going on in your life, I'm not saying you're going to have it as fair as Sally Sue or whoever's on your left and right, but sometimes the strongest people are forged within the fire. And so if that's your path, own it and be proud of yourself at the end of the day, because I'm proud of you too. So I hope this video helped you in some type of way. Don't be hard on yourself. And if you did like the video, please go and drop me a like below. I'll see y'all here in the next one. Take care for now. Peace.